last day, of all people to message me, IPN messaged me and he was just like, Pomu, what do I do in Japan? I was like, guy, I've never spoken to you. This is literally our first DMs ever. So I got to meet IPN, Kotoka, and Anna, and IPN's friend, who I didn't know was going to be there. But they were nice. So afterwards, we go to Akiba, and we all go to a maid cafe together, and we went to Akiba Zettai Ryoiki.
So, going to a maid cafe with Pomu specifically was a completely different experience. If you're like a maid cafe fanatic, it's a completely different experience than if you were to just go with like normal people.
I went to my first maid cafe with her and the others. Not my first rodeo, you know, I've worn a fucking maid outfit before. On stream, and more and more cues. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I get the hype for maid cafe minutes, but maybe it wasn't for me. Until we did the live performance, and they gave Pomu a light stick, and she went fucking bonkers, and I loved it.
She knows a lot about like wotagei.
No, I fucking loved it.
That's when I requested Triangle Dreamer. And I got to... Oh my gosh, it was so awesome because I was doing the calls. I like stood up to do the calls, and like everybody at our table, like Kotoka and IPN and IPN's friend, were all like just looking at me.
So I didn't know this, but apparently like the ta 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 taiga is an actual chant. I thought this entire time Pomu Rainpuff made up that Diamond City Lights chant. I don't know these things, okay? I low-key was just like, oh my god, she's a legend. I mean, she still is a legend, but... So then she bought like a light stick, and I didn't really understand at that point what she was about to do. Before the maid performed, Pomu mumbled under her breath. I was sitting next to Pomu, okay? I don't know if anybody else heard, but she kind of like said very softly, she was like, well, it's time to embarrass myself. I didn't know what she meant. Pomu was the only person in that maid cafe who was standing up with like these like shiny glow sticks in her hands, waiting for this maid to perform. The music starts. The maid is not even singing. She's like lip singing, but she's actually dancing, and she's very, very cute. We're like 10 seconds in, and Pomu, I don't even know how to explain it. Pomu like is in a different position. You know how people who run marathons or like races, it's like ready, set, go? Pomu was like in gear 1. And then when it hit like the first stanza of her chant, she was like, wah, 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 wah. I was like, whoa! Pomu was even more extravagant than the maid that was performing on the stage. And I was sitting the closest to her. I was like right beside her. I literally had to move my chair so that she wouldn't accidentally hit me. It felt like I was watching a metal concert from this little tiny girl. It was the best maid experience I've ever had in my life. It was so...
And then once it got to the Gachikoi part, the Gachikoi koujou, I was the only one doing it. So I was like, and at that point there was like a sizable crowd in the maid cafe, and so everybody, all the rest of the patrons, like all the rest of the people in the cafe were like, Nani, Nani. So I was like, oh my god, I was getting like so much hype because I was just like, they were like, Nani, Nani, and I was like leading it. I felt so powerful in that moment.
It went from her fucking stomach. It wasn't like high pitched. It was like a scream of death. Everyone at the fucking cafe hyped her up like later, because in the beginning everyone's like, what the fuck, because it was so loud and sudden. She went fucking crazy, and the maid fucking loved it too, because she got hyped as well. And then the others went like, whenever she said a chant, they were like, Nani, Nani, and then we joined in as well. But in the beginning, me and Kolkas, I'm not even kidding, I'm not even exaggerating, we started crying. Because it was so good.
If they were doing the Nani Nani, was she doing the full like Gachikoi mix?
She did everything. I don't know what it was, but...
Okay.
She my best friend said as well, like, she changed his life. Or mine.
She was screaming. Like, I promise you, she has 10 times more stamina than Ike Evelyn. I swear. Like, oh my god. She was like dancing and screaming at the same time. Nobody else in this maid cafe energy was even half or even 1/3 there. And Pomu was so energetic, the room full of like dead people started to come alive. During the last chorus, some of the other guys in the mid, like people who I didn't know, like strangers, they started getting like hyped up too, you know? Pomu would be like, watch out, watch out. The other people would be like, yeah, you know, they weren't, you know, as energetic, but they were getting into it, and we were all getting into it, you know. That day, Kotaka had like 2 hours of sleep, but during that chant thing, I'm pretty sure Kotaka woke up for like a good 20 minutes. Like, fuck Tylenol. Oh wait, Tylenol doesn't wake you up. I've been touched by music before. I've never ever been touched by like just a person with pure passion and screaming a chant. I don't know what the fuck she was saying. I didn't know what the song was. I don't know who the fuck these maids were. I just know that Pomu Rainpuff was standing beside me, giving her entire existence to this one lady who was performing. And honestly, quite frankly, Pomu was like outshining her. I'm sorry, this is probably a biased thing, but I was looking at Pomu the whole time. Literally real Pomufication. I was very, very blessed. And then Pomu was so good, the maids of the cafe came over to our table and they were like, thank you so much for your passionate chant. And then Pomu, switching back to her default mode, being really shy, was like, oh no, it's okay. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm gonna be honest, after that day, I never saw Pomu as the same person again. It was like amazing.
I don't believe them, but they said that that was the best part of the maid cafe experience. I don't believe them though. The maids are really cute. And then I went and bought porn.